So I've done a lot of teamwork builds lately, but don't worry, I have noticed that you guys want me to cover more ancestry feats. Today we're talking about the Asomar heritage. Let's get started. So like most versatile heritages, the Asomar gives you low light vision, or if you've already got low light vision from your ancestry, it gives you dark vision. You can also pick from the feats I'm about to cover in addition to those from your ancestry. This is generally how all versatile heritages work. So, for our ancestry feats, first up we have Angel Kin. This is one of quite a few lineage feats we can take. So of course, we only get one of these, and we have to take it at first level. This gives us trained proficiency in society, or another skill if we're already trained in society. In addition, we gain the celestial language as well as the multilingual feats. This of course means that we can talk to a bunch of people, especially if we have high intelligence. This also makes it easier to avoid fights if you've got high charisma. Celestial Eyes is another feat we can only take at level 1. This one is for all the Asomars that don't get dark vision from the heritage. It gives you dark vision, that's it. This is great for those human and halfling Asomars. Don't knock how much dark vision helps, especially if the whole party has it. Then we've got Celestial Lore. This gives us trained proficiency in diplomacy and religion. We also become trained in a lore skill associated with whatever plane of existence our lineage traces from. So for example, if one of our ancestors was an angel, we'd pick up heaven lore. This is pretty much your standard lore skill that every ancestry gets. But every skill in the game is useful for teamwork in some way. So you should always consider these feats when you can take them. This also combos pretty well with Angel Kin. Next we've got our second lineage, Ember Kin. This gives you a +1 circumstance bonus on saves against fire effects. Also, your perception is unaffected by non-magical fire, fog, or smoke. This is good for the same reason that Celestial Eyes is. However, you're going to run into a lot more darkness than you're going to run into things like smoke, fog, and other stuff like that. So actually this feat ends up being pretty situational. Alright, time to talk about Halo. This is great for parties that don't have a whole lot of dark vision. You pretty much gain the constant effects of the light cantrip. The best part about this feat is that you can shut it off. Yes, you can turn it on and off with a single action that has the concentrate trait. So if you need to sneak around or whatever in darkness, you can. With the Idlekin lineage, you gain trained proficiency in nature, the Sylvan language, and the natural medicine feat. This one is pretty good because it gives you an extra skill, a skill feat, and a language. Natural medicine is a great feat if you're better at nature than you are at medicine. Although, you still want to be an expert in medicine so you can take all the good medicine feats. Then we've got the Lawbringer Lineage feat. This one gives you a +1 circumstance bonus on saving throws against emotion effects. Also, if you roll a success on your saving throw against an emotion effect, you get a critical success instead. This one's okay. It only really affects you, but fear can be very debilitating. And fear is an emotion effect. Fear can definitely keep you from helping your team to the best of your ability. But otherwise, it's pretty situational. I would only take this if you think you're going to run into a lot of emotion effects. With the Muse Touch lineage, you gain a +1 circumstance bonus on checks to escape. In addition, if you roll a critical failure on escape checks, you get a failure instead, and if you roll a success, you get a critical success. This is great for anyone that has trouble getting out of grapples, but especially spellcasters. This means you can always try as many times to escape as you have actions on your turn. Unfortunately, this doesn't get rid of the penalty to those checks. This also means that if you do finally get out of it, you're always going to get a critical success, so you can always step 5 feet. This forces the enemy to spend at least one action getting back up to you if they want to grapple you again. And wasting enemy actions is always good. And now we come to our last lineage and our last first level feats. With the Plumekith lineage feat, you only take half damage from falling, and you gain a +2 circumstance bonus against air effects. Unfortunately, this one really doesn't help the team very much. If you can think of a way that this helps the team, then by all means tell me in the comments. But I will say that this does lead to a pretty good teamwork feat later on, which I'll talk about later in this video. Blessed Blood is very flavorful, but it's also mechanically very situational. When a creature with weakness to good damage drinks your blood, or when they hit you with a slashing or piercing unarmed attack, they take 1d6 good damage. In addition, you receive a +4 circumstance bonus to craft holy water using your own blood as one of the ingredients. This is really only good if you're running into a lot of undead, fiends, or other things that have weakness to good damage. Otherwise, it's only going to come up every once in a while. Then of course we gotta talk about Celestial Resistance. Choose acid, cold, electricity, fire, or sonic damage. You gain resistance 5 to that type of damage. Again, kind of situational. If you're running into a lot of one of those types of damage, take this. Otherwise, you're probably better off picking a different Asomar feat. But if you are running into that type of damage a lot, then this can help keep you up, which the longer you're up, the more you can help your party. Imperial Blessing is a great feat, especially if you're not a spellcaster. This feat gives you Bless as a once per day divine innate spell. Bless is definitely one of the best teamwork spells in the game. Giving all your allies a +1 to hits for a minute is huge. And this spell does give you something to do besides just attack on your third action. Garuda Squall is pretty good for classes that want to use a bow but don't get critical specialization effects. If you are a Plume Kiss, then whenever you critically hit with a bow, you apply the critical specialization effect. The bow critical specialization effect can take low strength foes out of the fight completely, and it might also keep foes that like to run away from doing so. Granted, if you don't get critical specialization effects, you're probably not going to crit very often, but when you do, this can be great. Now we come to my favorite Asomar feat, Healer's Halo. This feat gives you a reaction that is triggered when you or your allies within 30 feet recover hit points while your halo is active. Creatures that have healed hit points from a positive healing effect heal an additional 1d6 damage. But creatures that benefit from this are immune to this effect for 10 minutes after that. This is a fantastic teamwork option for any healer, but especially for clerics. Imagine combining this with the Healing Hands cleric feats. You get to roll d10s instead of d8s for your healing, and all your allies that are affected gain 1d6 extra hit points. Yeah, this feat is great for any time you need to do a 3-action heal. Sanctuary has always been a great spell to put on any character that is more about healing and buffing than attacking. And with Tranquil Sanctuary, you can cast it once per day, even if you're not a spellcaster. You have to be an Idealkin to take this. However, this feat is the main reason why you become an Idealkin. Agathion Magic also requires the Idealkin lineage. This feat allows you to cast Animal Form and Calm Emotions once per day as second level Divine Innate spells. Animal Form isn't that useful because it doesn't level up with you. It's always going to be a second level spell, so as you level up, this is going to get less and less useful. However, Calm Emotions is an excellent spell. It even has a good teamwork effect on a successful saving throw. It affects multiple creatures and is great to use against creatures that have low will saves. However, it is all creatures in the 10-foot burst, including your allies, so you have to be careful about when you cast this spell. Angelic Magic requires, of course, the Angelkin lineage, and gives you Remove Fear and Humanoid Form as once per day second level Divine Innate spells. Remove Fear is very situational, but is good. Humanoid Form is decent if you want to disguise yourself, but other than that, it's not really all that useful. With the Archon Magic feat, you can cast Continual Flame and Shield Other as innate divine spells once per day. These are both fantastic for teamwork. Continual Flame means that you always have a torch at least once per day. And Shield Other, come on. Of course that's a good teamwork option. Taking half damage for somebody else, of course that's a good teamwork spell. If you are a Lawbringer, definitely pick this one up. With Azada Magic, if you are Muse Touch, you can cast Glitter Dust and Remove Paralysis once per day as second level Divine Innate spells. Both of these are a little situational, but again, fantastic. Glitter Dust is great if you can see invisible creatures. Not only does it get rid of the invisibility of multiple creatures, but it can also give them conditions. But it's only good if you have something that lets you see invisible creatures. Remove paralysis is also situational, depending on how many creatures you run into that give the paralyzed condition. Call of Elysium also requires the Muse Touch lineage. This gives you a 5-foot speed increase that doesn't stack with other ancestry feats. However, it does stack with the Fleet General feat. Also, allies that start their turn adjacent to you gain a 5-foot status bonus to their speed for 1 round. This is a fantastic teamwork option. Increasing your ally's speed for a round is really good, and this gives you more mobility too. Celestial Wings is another great teamwork option for mobility. This gives you a fly speed equal to your speed for 10 minutes. Could definitely allow you to get to some targets you wouldn't normally be able to. Plus, you don't need a fly spell in order to fly for 10 minutes. This of course allows other spells to be prepared besides just fly spells, by you or by your other allies. Divine Countermeasures isn't a great teamwork option. True, it could allow you to stay up, which of course the longer you stay up, the more you can help your team, but it's also really situational. Almost too situational. It gives you a +1 bonus on saves against divine effects. That's it. If you're having to fight a lot of fiends or celestials or divine spellcasters, consider this feat. Otherwise, you're better off picking something else. With Garuda Magic, if you are a Plumekith, then you can gain Blur and See Invisibility as innate divine spells once a day. It's really too bad that you can't combine this feat with Azada Magic. That would be freaking epic. Unfortunately, you can only take 1 lineage, so this and that will never be combinable. However, that doesn't mean this feat isn't worth taking. Both of these spells are excellent for teamwork. See Invisibility because, you can let your party know when invisible creatures are trying to sneak up on you. And Blur because you can cast it on a spellcaster so they don't have to waste their spell slots on it. Or they just might not even have access to Blur. With Parry Magic, if you're an Emberkin, you get Clear Dust and Status as 2nd level Divine Innate spells. I already talked about why Clear Dust is good for teamwork. But Status can help you keep tabs on your allies, which is always good. Plus, you could use it on important NPCs as well. Unfortunately, you can't heighten this spell with this feat, so you can only target 1 creature with it. So in some ways, it's situational. Now we come to Asomar's Mercy. With this feat, you can cast 2 of the following spells each day. Remove Curse, Remove Disease, and Neutralize Poison. How good this feat is ultimately depends on how often you're running into curses, diseases, and poisons. Getting rid of these conditions is good when you run into them. So this feat is good in certain situations. Celestial Strikes and Enforced Order do pretty much the same thing. Celestial Strikes allows you to do 1 extra good damage on all of your strikes. Enforced Order requires the Lawbringer Lineage and allows you to do 1 extra lawful damage on all of your strikes. These 2 can be combined. However, both these feats are only good to take advantage of alignment weaknesses, and specific ones at that. So there's not a whole lot of teamwork potential here. That being said, it is good to be able to take advantage of enemy weaknesses, especially when you have a party member that's good at knowledge. Flame Jump is an interesting feat, albeit not that useful. Once per day, you can spend 1 minute in focused preparation. After doing that, you may enter a fire that is your size or larger. You take no damage from entering or exiting fires from this ability. Using this ability allows you to teleport instantly to any fire that is your size or larger within 5 miles. Once you enter the fire, you instantly know where other fires are in range. You can also exit from the original fire if you so prefer. This activity fails if you try to take an extra dimensional space with you. This one is also pretty situational, especially since you gotta be an Emberkin to take this in the first place. But generally this feat isn't as good as I originally thought, because you can't take other people with you. With the Purge Sins feat, you can spend an action once per day to attempt a counteract check against each disease or poison affecting you using religion. This otherwise functions as normal for counteract checks. This is an okay feat. it would be a lot better if you could use this on allies as well. And it's only really helpful for you if you're suffering from a bunch of diseases or poisons. Overall, because this is a heritage, there are probably better feats from your original ancestry to take instead of this. Summon Celestial Kin requires any one of the Aasimar Lineage feats. Once per day, you can cast Summon Celestial as a 5th level Divine Innate spell. However, the Celestial you summon must be in the same category as your lineage. So if you're an Angelkin, you can summon an Angel, and if you're an Emberkin, you can summon a Parry, and so on and so forth. This is actually probably the best teamwork feat at this level for Aasimars. It actually has some pretty good options for what you can summon depending on what your lineage is. With True Speech, if you're an Angelkin, you can cast Tongues once per day as a 5th level Divine Innate spell. But you can cast this spell only on yourself. If you already understood the creature before casting Tongues, you gain a +1 bonus on diplomacy checks when speaking to that creature. This is a pretty good out of combat feat, especially for those characters who have high charisma. Being able to understand any creature for an hour once a day is really good, and you don't even have to be a spellcaster to take this. Fantastic. Alright, we're down to the last 3 feats for Aasimars, all of which are 17th level. With this feat, we can cast Divine Decree once a day as a 7th level innate divine spell. We must choose good for the spell's damage. However, we can cast this spell regardless of whether we have a deity or what alignment that deity is. Divine Decree is a pretty good teamwork spell, but only against low-level enemies and strength-based enemies. Otherwise, it's just kind of a do damage thing. So, kind of useful in certain situations, but otherwise not that useful. Eternal Wings gives us the wings from Celestial Wings all the time instead of just for 10 minutes. This one is good for teamwork for the same reason the Celestial Wings is. Plus it's even better because you can always fly, never need a fly spell, and great for mobility. And then we come to Radiate Glory. For one action, you can radiate your glory for 1 minute. All creatures that can see you while you do this must make a will saving throw against your class DC or spell DC, whichever is higher. After making this will save, a creature is immune to this effect for 24 hours. If they critically succeed, nothing happens. If they succeed, you are concealed to that creature for 1 round, but you can't use this concealment to hide or sneak. If they fail the saving throw, you are concealed to that creature for the full duration. If they critically fail the save, then you are hidden from them, but you can't use this to sneak. This feat is okay for rogues, but it also can affect your allies. That can make it very hard for them to target you with teamwork-based spells. And that's every single Asomar feat we have right now. I'll be using this heritage for my next teamwork build, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. I'm also covering good teamwork dwarf feats in my short series, so be sure to check that out as well. And until next time, remember, teamwork is vital.